10 News starts now.
Mr. President, pleasure to see you. Are we going to see you in Arizona?
I look forward to it. Hopefully in January or February when it's really cold here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Good to see you. Appreciate your time.
Appreciate you.
You saw it. Fox 10 goes one-on-one with President Barack Obama at the White House, the only Arizona news team given exclusive access to the commander-in-chief, and it is our big story tonight. The White House invited only a handful of local TV newscasters from across the country to interview the president on a variety of topics. Fox 10's John Hook talked to Mr. Obama about illegal immigration, border security, jobs, and our housing mess. And he joins us live from the White House with more. And John, what a day for you today.
It's been a big day, Troy. We were on the South Lawn for most of the day. Now we've changed positions out to the North Lawn, Lafayette Park, not far from here, just across the street. And it was a really interesting day, Troy. We did get to talk to the president. I wish we'd had a half an hour. We didn't get that luxury. He's a busy guy. We got about 6 minutes with the president. And we talked, about all of those things you just laid out. It's all of the issues that affect Arizona. And several of them, of course, really affect the country, particularly jobs, the housing crisis, even immigration to some degree. And that's our launching point tonight. We talked to the president about this vexing issue of what to do about illegal immigration. A quick question on the border. You're getting it from both sides. You've deported a record number of people in your time in office, 1 million people. Hispanics are angry at you because you haven't gotten comprehensive immigration reform through. Republicans say you're not shoring up the border enough. You've got to thread the needle here. How are you planning to do this, and where do we go from here?
Well, our goal has been to enforce the laws that we have. That's my duty as president, as effectively as we can. And we have put more resources on the border than ever before. And nobody can dispute that. But ultimately, the solution to this is comprehensive immigration reform. And this traditionally was a bipartisan idea. I mean, John McCain was one of the biggest champions. And to see Republicans walk away from that, I think, is a mistake.
And that's where we are on this. And in an election year, it is absolutely toxic. They're not going to touch immigration between now and Election Day. So the president's in a spot, and he's got to win Hispanic voters over. That's particularly true in Arizona, and it's tough when he went into office and said, look, I'm going to make this a top priority, and it didn't happen. We'll circle back on that in a moment because Governor Brewer's book, which we're also previewing tonight at 9 o'clock, she talks a lot about this and, in fact, her meeting with the president last year. But let's give you a little bit of behind the scenes here at the White House. After all, not many people get the access we got today, and it's an honor, and we want to bring you some of it. Here's a little bit of what we saw, at least from the South Lawn, where you usually don't get to go. Take a look. The South Lawn of the White House, a magnificent view of the Washington Monument. Yes, this is where the president works, but it's also where he's raising a family. And the signs are everywhere. The Redwood swing set on the west side of the lawn. To Bo, the first family's dog, a Portuguese water dog given to the president by Ted Kennedy. Bo was named by the girls and named in part after musician Bo Diddley. Then there's the First Lady's organic garden, part of her Eating Healthy initiative. The second floor of the White House are the staterooms, the formal dining room, and working offices. To the West Wing, where the president works. This is home to the Oval Office. The top 2 floors of the White House is the living quarters for the president and first family, off limits to the press. Sometimes you think about this strictly as a place where state business is done, and you forget that a family lives here. And we were kind of reminded of this throughout the day because there are pictures of Sasha and Malia and the First Lady and the President all over the walls as you walk around the White House. And the people who, work here, they talk about it quite a bit, and it's not a phony thing. They say these are really, really nice people. And the girls, they particularly talk about how well-behaved, well-mannered, and sweet they are, and that they've really been able to be raised here in the public eye, but somehow out of it, and assume a fairly normal life, believe it or not. And that was interesting to hear. Now, back to immigration, which I spoke to the president about. Remember that Governor Jan Brewer has been very critical about this administration and what she feels they have not done on the border, in Arizona particularly, where half the illegal crossings are. I handed the president today the governor's book. It was kind of a lark, trying to kind of break the ice and take in the moment. And here's the inscription that the governor wrote on the book that I presented to the president today. Let me read it to you. President Obama, my invitation still stands for you to visit the Arizona-Mexico border. Breakfast, in quotes, is on me. Jan Brewer. So she threw a little barb out there. Tonight at 9, we're going to talk about the governor's new book, where she was critical of her meeting with President Obama, saying that he blew her off on one occasion at ASU, that he wasn't nice to her when she came here to talk about immigration. Our experience today, I have to tell you, the president was most gracious, very friendly, extended himself to us, and his staff was amazing. They know that they can reach through and grab Arizonans by going through us. It's not, it's not just about us. It's about getting to the voters.
Right.
And they did a nice job here today. It was really an experience, Troy.
And John, I want you to level with me because you're an experienced guy. You've been around. But were you freaking out a little bit? Were you pretty nervous when you walked in and saw the president standing there today? What was that like?
You wait in a holding area right outside of, it's the cabinet room where the cabinet meets. And that's where we were. Shortly before the interview, a little backstory, we're thinking it's a sit-down interview. You'll have your notes and all of that, and then they say, no, you're going to be standing with the president. That changes the whole dynamic because now, you really can't bring in a bunch of notes. You've got to just go. And the first question, I have to say, I was almost in an out-of-body experience. You're standing there and you're going, what in the world is going on?
Right.
After that, you settle in and it's just two guys talking, and it was really, I really enjoyed it. And hopefully we got some things that Arizonans want to know about.
What an experience job. Great job out there. And we'll see more from you tonight. Again, he is live from Washington at 9 and 10 o'clock. More of the exclusive visit with the president, behind-the-scenes tour of the White House. That's coming up again later on tonight on Fox 10. Thanks, John. Great job. Governor Jan Brewer's new memoir, John mentioned, hit store shelves today. The book's titled Scorpions for Breakfast: My Fight Against Special Interests, Liberal Media, and Cynical Politicos to Secure America's Border. It's a mouthful, but the governor talks about Arizona's fight against illegal immigration and the state's feud with the feds to secure the border. She sat down with John before he went to Washington and describes how she got the idea for the book's title.
Now, you really don't eat scorpions for breakfast, right?
No, I try not to. It's interesting how that all came about.
It is. Chuck Norris had something to do with
right.
it, right?
Yeah, he had blogged that Jan Brewer was so tough that she ate scorpions for breakfast and she flossed her teeth with barbed wire.
You can watch the whole interview coming up tonight on Fox 10 News at 9 o'clock.